Hello there. So my name is Matthew. If you don't know me in real life, I am currently living in France, and now I have a lot of time on my hands because most of the country is shut down. I don't have to go to work for the moment. And there's something to be said for having a lot of time on your hands that's really not so good sometimes. So I've decided to make a few videos of maybe not so great quality. I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not a pro. I just have my computer right now. And there are some things that are worth sharing, I think, to help everyone through the time that we're living through right now, the weeks to come. And I thought I would start by not really telling you about myself, but getting straight to the point that there's lots of time to pray. Sorry, the chair, like most things in France, I've discovered, is really made for someone smaller than me. I'm about 6 feet tall, give or take. My metric size is about 1 meter and 84 centimeters, so everything comes to about my hips, just about, and that's very annoying. It hurts. So here we are. So yeah, there's lots of free time, and no, it doesn't all have to be, praying for the salvation of the world, which is great. We should do more of this. You can do other things too, read or watch movies or go outside as long as you can, of course. But I tend to post a lot of things on my social media that are about French spirituality or in French, and I don't know if that bugs my friends or what, but it's my thing, and I thought I would start by posting something about the little booklet I finally found with most of the very useful prayers, not all of them, but a lot of them. So I found this little book, it's Livret de Prières, very small. It fits into the pocket of my raincoat, which is great, so I can take it when I'm not necessarily bringing a full bag, or I can slip it in my pocket and pull it out in between prayers or something. Very convenient. It's published by the publishing company Quentin Moreau. So that's Quentin Moreau. So Quentin Moreau, Moreau. I can only switch between languages when I don't want to do it. Sometimes I will accidentally say the wrong word in English because I meant to say, I tried to start speaking in French. So here we go. And I'm not really going to edit this video. I don't want you to mistake me for some great professional genius here. It was €2.50, and I bought it at the Au Cœur Immaculé de Marie bookstore, which is in front of, or rather across the street from, the Basilique de Notre-Dame des Victoires, so Our Lady of Victories in Paris. If you're not familiar with this church, it's a really, really beautiful classical basilica built in the 18th, 19th century, and Thérèse, la petite Thérèse, went there during her pilgrimage to Rome. So they stopped in Paris, and she had a very profound experience of prayer there, and she always had a lifelong devotion to Notre Dame de Victoire, who is also Our Lady of the Rosary. I'm sure you can find it at other Catholic bookstores in France if you go on pilgrimage, or they could order it for you to pick up if you were to go on pilgrimage. It is on Amazon in the United States, but maybe somebody could pick it up through a US distributor because it costs $10 or so to ship the book when the book is only $3 to $4 depending on the exchange rate. So it's not worth it right now to buy it on Amazon, unfortunately. But maybe that will change. So, as I said, it's a small booklet, and just for size, I have a little whiteboard marker. So, it's really small. Very convenient. It has all sorts of prayers. So, prayers to start your day, like the collective prime, Domini Deus Omnipotens, qui ad principio nuius Dei nos pervenire fecisti, the Canticle of Zechariah and of Our Lady for the morning and evening, some prayers from Compline, like the Collect and Visitaquesimus and the Marian Antiphons, the Angelus, Regina Caeli, the prayers for before and after meals, prayers to the Holy Spirit before study from St. Thomas, various devotions for communion, including the prayers of St. Thomas, St. Ambrose, the litanies, prayers to the Sacred Heart, the Rosary, for the dead, to the angels, several other nice prayers that are not necessarily common prayers. For instance, the prayer of St. Pius X for the Immaculate Conception Novena. So if you are like me and are a fan of the Institute of Christ the King, Sovereign Priest, you're familiar with their form of the Immaculate Conception Novena. And the prayer for that is in here, in French. And many of the prayers, so all of your basic prayers, like the Sign of the Cross and the Rosary prayers, the Apostles' including the Apostles' Creed, are in Latin and in French. They have the Confiteor from the traditional Mass, so all of the prayers are taken from the traditional Mass and Divine Office. The translations are sometimes a little different than what you might be used to. The Notre Père, the Pater Noster, Our Father, is the vous form used by traditional Catholics in France, whereas the other prayers, such as the antiphons from the end of Compline to the Blessed Virgin, would be the translations, it appears, of Dom Guéranger, the refounder of Solesmes, which is great. The liturgical year, l'année liturgique, is a really wonderful series of works on the liturgical year, and the book even has a little preface on prayer, 2 short pages by Dom Guéranger himself. So most of your prayers in English and French, but note that sometimes the French is a little different from what you hear both in regular parishes and in the traditional chapels and apostolates. But you'll eventually be able to learn the difference, I think. Some of them are just in French, so the prayers of St. Thomas for communion and such. Unfortunately, the litanies of Our Lady are only in French. What else? Oh, another prayer that I really like that's in here. It's very popular in France. And it's prayed if you go to the Shrine of Christ the King in Chicago. After all of the liturgies there, it's the prayer of Father Cyril of the Mother of God, who was a Carmelite, to the Holy Infant Jesus of Prague. So that's another nice touch that makes this really useful for those of us who are devoted to the Institute and its spirituality. So this is a book I'll be using, again, the Livret de Prières. Let's get it up there. And it's really nice, so I'll be using this for some videos because I think that's really helpful for traditional Catholics who'd be interested in learning their prayers in French. It's sometimes really difficult to find them on the internet. I also think that yes, it's difficult because there are a bunch of different versions of all the different prayers, but let's do what we can to support each other, pray for one another. Ainsi soit-il. Au nom du Père, du Fils et du Saint-Esprit. Ainsi soit-il.